We are here today to announce that the Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance.
Actually, it's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Largest virtual.
Binance.
Binance. And let me be clear. It's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Council has discussed crypto regulations and legislations at length, and we have come to the conclusion that instead of regulating, we are going to ape a fat bag each into laptop and pump it to over $1,300,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 market cap. Let's fucking go, crackheads.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. I got my coffee locked and loaded, ready to go, because we have to talk about the most recent, most interesting things around Bitcoin and crypto, especially altcoins. And the big question is it already time for altcoins? And why are some altcoins not moving? And at this point also, we are going to talk about Bitcoin, where exactly we are with Bitcoin, because that is relevant to this topic. And we see right now that some altcoins are going completely nuts. Like Act 3 we have seen Pnut, we have seen some of the established altcoins like Rndr, but mostly Memecoins that are breaking out and forming crazy new highs. So this is your Crypto Morning Show. This is where you're getting the most recent information. So make sure to stay tuned all the way through, as we're also in the end going to talk about what is happening to EOMI a little bit more than in the video that I already made. And we are going to talk about Vivi, and we are having a quick look at some other project that is not directly NFTs, but for sure giving us a little bit of a glimpse how it could all work. So make sure to stay all the way through. Good morning to each and every one of you. How are you doing? I see Trucking Hank, as always, no surprises there. Being in the chat, and by the way, we're back to the number creeping up, and I think that is due to the performance of crypto, as well as that Bitcoin is just going nuts and retail is coming in. But everyone who is subscribed to this channel relatively newly and interested in Crypto Morning Coffee, a warm welcome. But I see a lot of OGs, I would say, of this channel here. So Patrick Bultman says, GM, this will be the meme bull run, maybe. Memes are going to go crazy, but the fact that everyone is calling the meme super cycle makes me a little bit suspicious about that, as memes have been exploding left and right. But it is already a big cycle for memes. That is very true. Also, good morning to you, Motili. Trucking Hank says, when 100,000 BTC, I need to know. Very soon, I would say. But it's hard to predict such short moves. I mean, we are sitting at 90,000 at the moment, so we are only 10,000 away. That is not a big move. That is the thing. Omeprazole is also here. Hasululu, good morning and good to see you again. Let's jump right into the action. This is the hourly chart of Bitcoin. As you can see, in the last hours, we're basically going flat. Yesterday, we saw a little bit more action, as after a retracement from this level here, where some people were even asking if this is a crash or so, over 5%, we just turned around and went to new all-time highs, hitting the latest all-time high to the exact here at 93,500. And again, we get a bigger rejection here from that new level all the way down and almost 6% down to 87,000, and now we are up again above 90,000. So Bitcoin is really getting a big push here to the upside, and that will at some point affect altcoins. And at the moment it's already affecting meme coins that are traveling with Bitcoin, so to say here. But you see on the daily, it's not too long ago that we have broken out of our bull flag here. I mean, look at this. It's not too long ago that we were in this unexciting phase here, that we reported every swing up, every swing down, and that we were guessing when exactly would we break out of this bull flag. And then it happened, and I mean, you can see it was on the 14th of October that this happened, and that's exactly 1 month away, right? So you can't see the exact line here, but no worries, there you go. It's only 1 month, this is 1 month away. So basically we are just rising since 1 month, and we went from the breakouts of 65,000 all the way to 90,000 in a means of only 30 days. This is a crazy, like, take this breakout. Wait a second. I want to take this breakout and go up to our all-time high. That was a 43% move. Yeah, and if we're looking at that in a weekly, it's a little bit more visible what actually happened here. A lot of people went into despair when we had this big retracement after breaking out, and now we are 3 weeks in the green, and as you can see, the indicators show that we don't really see an end to the move. I mean, at some point there will be a bigger retracement, right? And I will show you what implies, and that is something where we should not be freaking out. But if you're in trades and so on, at some point here up at the 93,000, beyond 90,000, some profit taking is always advised, right? If you're not like for the super long Bitcoin hodl, but more for the trade, then yes. But on the other hand, look at this, the TSI, it just had its bull cross. It's just expanding, right? So the question is how long this will go on, but also here on the MACD, you see just this MACD cross, it's just expanding, everything is just expanding. The RSI is barely in an overbought territory, barely, but not really. And this is the weekly, not the monthly. The monthly tells an even bigger story. So it could be, to answer Trucking Hank's question, that it will not take too long until 100K, considering these indicators. But the question is, will there be at around the 90K retracement to maybe 80,000, right? And then go on, or will we just pile on green sticks here until we reach the end of the bigger move, the broader move, right? If we are looking at the monthly, we can basically see it here, very high level in these indicators. Yeah, we are expanding on the TSI, yeah, and this is something where we have to take our own our more cluttered up chart here out to see really what's going on. This trend line here is relevant, and the blue would follow this little white strip that you see here, and then this would be the end of the move. So in my opinion, the end of the move is not here yet, and we are not even close to the end of the move, but we are traveling extremely fast. If you're looking at this, you see we are traveling even faster at the moment as this predicts. So we could even hit the all-time high still by the end of the year. This would be possible. If we are just going up like this, if we're just piling on green candles and never look back, this would be possible. But let's see how it turns out, because this is something very hard to predict. It's just guesswork, and that's something that we don't really need if we want to time here something in the market. The fact though is that what is happening is that the ETFs, like the Bitcoin ETFs, are the most successful and strongest ETF launch that we ever had. So they are piling on Bitcoin massively, right? And the question is, if ETFs and nation states are buying, how do we get our altcoin season, right? Because, and this is the topic of the stream, right? How do we get to our altcoin season? Will it happen? In which way? Is it only going to be degenerate meme gambling, or will there also be some massive moves out of the regular altcoins with real use cases and so on? And so one thing is that what is being bought by institutions through BlackRock, for example, is very likely not going to be sold directly to get this money into altcoins. But what is happening is that BlackRock is pushing all these early investors up in Bitcoin, everyone who's in the last cycle or the previous or in since the beginning of time, and they can shave off profits and roll that into altcoins. And also, if nation states buy, obviously they're not going to buy altcoins. Although I would not be completely confused if a state like El Salvador at some point buys some Ethereum or so, right? But the bottom line is that these effects don't happen directly. First, Bitcoin needs to pump. The pump is driven by ETFs, nation states, institutions, wealthy investors that have FOMO at the moment, and then also retail, which is coming in right now. And then the retailers will look for something that moves harder because they already see it in the memes. And the ETFs and nation states, they're pushing everyone up that is already in Bitcoin, that then will roll profits from Bitcoin into other altcoins. So here a word of warning, right? There is the option to take profit, and there is the thought, but it could 10x, okay? So it depends more on your personal goals, in my opinion, whether you take profits, and not so much on trying to time the absolute top in a certain altcoin or trying to time the absolute top in Bitcoin, if you even want to take profit this cycle in Bitcoin, or if you just want to hold Bitcoin and just continue this wave. At some point, it's advised to just this thought, it needs to be visible that this thought is like a drug, but it could 10x, right? Especially for altcoins. Talking about risk, so we have here the Bitcoin estimated futures leverage ratio for the USDT pair across all exchanges. Perpetual market is over leveraged by 2.7x over leveraged, higher than earlier this year, hitting an all-time high. So it's very accurate here, and so we need to be cautious, because this level of over leverage usually leads to deleveraging by force. And that is usually when Bitcoin crashes, right? And that doesn't mean that this is the end of the move, but we know that markets have a hard time to digest when Bitcoin comes down 20 or 30%, which we sometimes see in these bull runs. And this could be a move of only 1 week down to, what would that be? If we crash 20 or 30% in Bitcoin. Well, let's see. What would that be? Let's get rid of the lines. There you go. Okay, so up. Okay, yeah, let's see. I think that's enough. Okay, so let's just say we're starting a correction here and we are going down 20%. That would be 71k. If we come back to 71k, it will destroy the mood in the market, let's say, for a while, right? And then suddenly there's a turnaround, then there's going back up. The question is it going to happen from 90k, or will we touch the 100k and then go back, right? That's the big question. So retracement on psychological level of 100K, yeah, that's my thought as well. As we've already touched 93,000, the 90K doesn't seem to bother anyone. So maybe that is where we are going to retrace. Omeprazole says, I need altcoin season. Memes have their own cycle. Drogo says, hey, can I make an entry in bread spot? Let's see that a little bit later. So while running through this, also keep in mind that you are already with Bitcoin, which is the slowest mover, so to say, in the crypto space. You are outperforming massively government bonds, right? So here you see basically the government bonds are losing 51 to 52% relative to BTC in terms of performance. So the safe investment is also not giving any returns, right? So yeah. Daily chart, Omeprazole says, daily chart looks like we're going to go higher. 90K support is uptrend resistance that entered previous cycle, and we are confirming support above it. Need daily candle close there, just where it is right now or higher. I think we see the bullishness here already, and also the volume is increasing on this, right? So that is very true, and we are coming to that in a second. Also, what speaks for 100K soon is that Polymarket, which was pretty accurate on predicting the US election outcome, is saying this year to 100K is now up 76% on Polymarket. So they're betting on it. And yeah, then we will see how Polymarket will feel about the next targets, right? Once this happens. But it's relatively guaranteed that we hit the 100K fairly soon. So only 10,000 from here and another 7,000 from the current all-time high, or 6,500. That's not much. Also, Bitcoin is completely destroying every other asset in terms of returns, right? And people see that. And this is also the reason why retail is seeing that, as retail got hammered on inflation and so on. By the way, yesterday US inflation came in as expected, which is why it didn't shake up the markets. 2.6% year-over-year inflation. We are expecting the Fed to give us another 25% or 25 basis point rate cut at I think it's the 18th of December. But you see, if you're in gold, actually that's that's the best here. Then global growth is just like gold. S&P 500 slightly underperforming that, and Nasdaq and S&P 500 are the best performers if you're not in Bitcoin. But the only thing is that the return is 110% on Bitcoin, whereas in the S&P 500 you would have gotten 25%. So that means no reason to have all of that if you have 50% per year growth on Bitcoin average. Obviously, you have to sustain the wild swings and DCA, right? But it's possible. So let's look. Could Bitcoin go to 500K? Let's listen to Mike Novogratz here and this reporter. But yeah, let's see. By the way, I think she goes full screen. So let's see here. Let's listen to this together. Not as bullish, but interesting.
In Bitcoin, which is one of the purest supply and demand markets. And one of the reasons I keep hearing is that there's a lot of optimism that we could see the United States government buy up to $1 million worth of Bitcoin. Now that you do have all these crypto advocates in Congress, are you confident that we could see something like that?
I still think it's a low probability, right? You know how Congress works? The House gets excited or the executive gets excited and the Senate says, calm down. Right? That's the role of the Senate. And while the Republicans control the Senate, they don't have 60 seats. They don't have close to 60. And so, listen, I think it would be very smart for the United States to take the Bitcoin they have and maybe add some to it and say, we want to show the world that we're going to be technology first country, a crypto digital asset first country. I don't necessarily think the dollar needs anything to back it up. We have the strongest military in the world. We have the dominant economy in the world, and the reserve currency we've earned. And to need to back up the reserve currency is counterintuitive. And so, again, listen, if we get the Bitcoin reserve, and as a guy that owns a lot of Bitcoin, I will not cry. And if you see me crying, there'll be crocodile tears. I think Bitcoin heads to 500,000. Again, it's a whole different paradigm because it forces every other country in. Countries are already buying it. I've got a dear friend, the guy that actually turned me on to Bitcoin in 2013, who's in the Mideast right now, and he said he's never seen anything like it. He's convincing more people to buy Bitcoin in the 3 days he's been there than any time in his whole career. And they're huge pools of capital. And so we're seeing something globally. When Trump advocated in Nashville that he was going to be a crypto president, a Bitcoin president, and now he's the president, let me tell you, other leaders heard that. And so I think we're strapping in for what could be an amazing rally.
I want to get back to your...
Okay, so let's stop this right there, what Mike Novogratz says. So I think this is a very, let's say, base take, because so everyone's like, oh yeah, Senator Cynthia Lummis is proposing this national reserve that includes a purchase plan for 5 years for 1 million Bitcoin, right? 1 million Bitcoin bought by the US. Now, the chance of this going through, as we heard, is not zero, but it's also not that high. And Trump can fulfill his promise of a national reserve in just ordering that the 200K Bitcoin that the US already has will not be sold and converted into a strategic reserve. And then he fulfilled his promise. And then on top of that, as Mike Novogratz says, the US can buy some Bitcoin, like 50K on top, and say, look, we are the innovation hub, whatever, right? But maybe even that they would not do, right? So everyone is now counting on Trump goes into office, and then there is a bill to buy these massive amounts of Bitcoin. Maybe that doesn't happen, but game theory is already on, because if some leaders in this world, in smaller countries, think that this will happen, even though it might not be happening right now, that could cause a turn, a flip in this world where small countries are aping into Bitcoin. Then they get richer and richer by this decision. And then the other nation states that are hesitant are forced to play this game, because otherwise they would lose just by not adopting this asset, right? And that is where I'm not sure if during that period, during that 4-year period, it might happen. And also think about it this way. Let's say the US doesn't build this strategic reserve with 1 million Bitcoin, only converts what they have, does a crypto-friendly regulation. That would mean that the nation state bull run might be the next bull run, right? And that the next bull run is driven by this and not this one here. That the nation states maybe need another bear market to come into that. So we will see how it turns out. Otherwise, this one could end up a very, very wild ride if this one's already where every nation state just announces that. Yeah, let's see here. Need 500K pump Sermoncas. Okay, I hope it for you. I hope it for us all, but I don't think 500K. I'm not sure. I don't think it will happen. Blaze says these guys are delusional, saying no need to back up the dollar because we have military. Shows how arrogant they are. I mean, it's an interesting discussion because you have to see one thing, that as long as you're the world reserve currency, because you're the empire, right? That also means you don't have to back it up before others, right? Technically. But then again, with Bitcoin, this is an interesting thing because whoever adopts it first benefits the most. So the question is, who pulls the trigger first on this thing? And yeah, so that's an interesting thought. And then automatically it could move to that you are not the reserve currency anymore down the road, not right now, and that the military power is not guaranteed anymore. So the question is, what comes first? Like maybe Mike Novogratz has it backwards. Maybe the military power goes away first, and then the reserve currency fades, or maybe the reserve currency fades and then the military power goes away. Who knows, right? I'm not. This is something for Ray Dalio and some others to figure out, right? We're going to read what they figured out, but of course we have our own mind, our own theories. So I think this thought is interesting. Omer Prozo says Trump has majority in the Senate. Easy clap. Yeah. That is true. Green Lantern says, GM boys driving, paying attention, and liking the stream. Thanks. Oh, by the way, 8 of 20. Like, we have 25 people here, and we only have 8 likes. Come on, show PH some love. Yeah, come on, guys. Let's show the love. I mean, we are at 90-something thousand Bitcoin. Please, guys. Please. We can... I think at this point we can afford a free like on this channel, right? I mean that would be the least, right? So thanks for that, Green Lantern. Smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Notifications on. Chris Klein says, "Good morning, BTC and Floki to the moon." Send it. I think Floki has been doing pretty well already. Price will go up after they buy. Yeah, probably. So let's see also this one here. Also an interesting one. So here for Trump wanting the US to hold. So here, see this.
You heard maybe a little bit what Kenny was saying. The bull run runs on, but it might be not as robustly. What do you think?
Well, I think there's two things that are happening with Bitcoin specifically. The first is we got a pro-Bitcoin president that's going into the White House. He explicitly campaigns saying that he's going to protect Bitcoin. He's going to protect the right of Bitcoiners to hold those assets.
Bitcoin can still hold what it's doing.
100%. I mean, look, anytime that you have a president go into the White House, what they measure is what moves. And this president cares about the stock market. He cares about asset prices. And so if you think that we're going to put a president...
But he particularly likes Bitcoin, right? And that surprised a lot of folks, the degree to which he likes it, right?
He loves Bitcoin.
So he wouldn't be like someone who would, like many criticize Gensler at the SEC for doing everything he can to kill this thing in the crypt.
I think that actually not only does President Trump like Bitcoin, he holds Bitcoin. He also wants the United States to hold Bitcoin. And so he's going to put together this strategic reserve of Bitcoin, which will be incredibly important. I think it'll be a flag that he plants in the ground and says, hey, I promised I was going to do this, and I did in the first 100 days.
Why is that a big deal? If you have a strategic reserve, you're building it, and by having to buy Bitcoin to have in it, right? So it furthers the demand.
Well, central banks around the world, they hold gold, many other assets.
Right.
And so anytime that you can go and get the best store of value asset in Bitcoin, which it has been for the last 15 years, I think that's a good thing. The other thing that's happening is Bitcoin's price is increasing, and everyone says, hey, it's Wall Street FOMO, which definitely is playing into it. But I think that Bitcoin,
right?
Yeah, but I think that Bitcoin is also a global alarm system. And what Bitcoin is telling us is, I'm calling the bluff of the politicians. If we go and look over the last 3 months, the politicians have added $850 billion to the national debt. And so at that same point, over that 3-month period, Bitcoin is up over 40%. And so right now we have a race between the national debt and Bitcoin. Who is going to reach the sky faster? Because Bitcoin is skyrocketing at the same pace that the national debt is skyrocketing.
So do you buy the camp that says we're going to go to $100,000 a coin, which we're not that far right now. I mean, that's less than a 20% jump to get there. But it is a wild run, right?
Saying that Bitcoin's going to go to 100K used to be controversial. Now I think people pretty much think that for sure it's going to happen. The question is when.
What do you see for it beyond this year into next year?
Timing is very difficult, but to kind of open people's eyes to what I think this asset's going to end up doing, Bitcoin will hit $1 million at some point in our lifetime. And it's partly because you have a finite supply asset and there's a lot of adoption that's coming and more people buying it.
If it's going to go to
I think that's enough. But what I really found interesting, and it was only by sentence because this interview host is like interrupting Pompliano every like 1.5 sentences or so. But what I thought was super interesting is like Bitcoin is a global alarm system for for national debt and for the indebtedness. And that's very true in my opinion. And if we see it that way, and if we also see that the chance is that Bitcoin goes to 1 million, then obviously the play must be to create as much cash as possible, or as we possibly can, by using meme coins, by using altcoins, by using workforce, whatever, to then get as much Bitcoin as we can in the next bear market bottom, right? So let's just assume that Bitcoin would fall back down to 60K in the next bear market, right? Let's just assume this would happen. Like Bitcoin crashes in the next bear market, falls to 60K. Then that, to the million that is predicted here, that would be a rough 20x, right? So how much do you have to put in terms of money to change your life? If it 20x's, then you're settled for good, right? How much money do you have to put in? Like, is it 100K, right? And then the 20x's, you have 2 million, right? Is it, I don't know, like how much money do you have to make this cycle to then capitalize on that throughout the 1 or 2 cycles to come, right? And then obviously on that side, you're doing the new altcoin plays or so. Like this could be the strategic thought here for the next 4 or 8 years. Like, how much do you have to make this cycle to then 20x that over time, right? Something like that. That could be the thought. And obviously 1 million is one prediction. We know that Vanek has a $3 million prediction. We know that Michael Saylor has a $13 million prediction. So it's somewhere there and thereabout. Very difficult to see what exactly it's going to be in the end. By the way, this tweet here, up here, I don't know, here, down here, ignore that, but Department of Government Efficiency has posted working overtime, and they have the handle @Doge, right? I don't know how they got this, but already almost 1 million followers, working overtime to ensure your tax dollars will be spent wisely. So this is, hopefully this also makes is coming in the future, right? So what about VeChain? Never see that again. Oh no, VeChain has been going up like 40% or something like that. It's doing quite good. Let's look at the altcoins. Of course, we have the biggest mover in this week in the top 100. It reached the top 100 with a 1,500% is Pnut the squirrel. Who would have thought? And today I read that the dev of this meme coin sold his bag very early. It's like one of the many meme coins that is like where the dev exits early. Just then it went successful, and he sold his bag for $700, and now it would be worth 100 million. So very crazy stuff. So that just got taken over completely by the community. But then also, if you look at what's moving, what's popping, here we see here VeChain 21% on the week. That's what you were asking for. So it's doing okay, but it's also not like, other than meme coins, nothing is going like super crazy. We see Pepe 126%, with 78%, Brett 56%, Bonk 84%, Floki 66.7%. So here we see all of these meme coins. And then we see all the other coins on the week. They're like 16, 15%, 10%, 12%, Link 10%, right? Mantles 27%, BitTorrent 28%, XRP 25%, Polygon 11%. The time for these, it will come. It will come. And I think the most important thing to look at the moment, sorry, wrong chart, where is it? Where is my, oh, there it is, BTC.D. So you see this, like, the initial thought was this might have been the start of the altcoin season, right? When altcoins did pretty well, right? This little blip here. But then Bitcoin just rallied again and put in a new all-time high in Bitcoin dominance. And this is the reason why it feels like that altcoins get wrecked every time. So Bitcoin pumps, and while the pump happens, altcoins are flowing into Bitcoin, right? And or altcoin profits, initial profits in this last blip, they flow back into Bitcoin right the next wave, right? That's what traders do. They trade back and forth until there's the end of the move and everything goes into altcoins, right? Now we see that we are breaking up to the upside of this wedge. So the big head scratcher here is how far will this Bitcoin dominance go before it turns around, before altcoins are taking the better part of the market. And I would say this move, like, it's Bitcoin season unless or until proven otherwise, right? So has the altcoin season started? No. We need to see this breakthrough important support, and to at least to lose all these bigger time frame levels to say, okay, altcoin season has started. So if your altcoin is doing 20, 30, 50% at the moment, that's without an altcoin season, right? You have some wilder swings in that direction, but it's not happening just yet. And actually, if altcoins are moving upwards and this altcoin season hasn't even started yet, that's a very good thing, because that means your multiples, your 10, 20, 30x, whatever altcoin you have, is coming on top whatever it does right now. Okay, so all these profits, they're blasting into the altcoins right now. Do you still have your VRA? Yes, I do. Yeah, I still have my Veracity. With all these I hold all of the altcoin picks that I've done. I either hold them all or I'm adding to it, right? Because I think right now it's not really the time to determine what works, what doesn't work. After when it's pumping or not pumping, when this is falling off, then we can see what works or what didn't work, right? And then we have to live with it. Of course, memes are wild now, and memes are the best entry for retail. Like, this is how retail experiences the power of crypto in a very short time, and how retail also gets wrecked. And then all the YouTubers will tell the retail users how to not get wrecked in normal coins, and then all the normal coins will be pumping. I still believe that this will happen again. I'm not a fan of the "this time is different" story. So if you look here at now we are really at bull market levels, right? Now we're really look at how this month will likely close, right? So the search volume for Ethereum and for NFTs is the same, like is 8 and 2. But Bitcoin went to 73. And 73, that's higher even than this collapse spike. That's not as high as the Bitcoin top here, the first top, right? But it has a bull market high. So everything above this 50 level, right? So above this level here, everything is like a real bull market, retail is coming in level, okay? So it's finally there. Retail is finally coming in. So we will see how this plays out, but it also gives us an indication that we're not at the end of the move just yet, but we're coming closer, right? We're coming closer, and then retail is fully there, and everyone will be going nuts, right? And we will see how much more retail there is once crypto is firing even more, right? When Bitcoin breaches 100K, this search volume will be out in space, right? And until then, I think that all these coins, they will be starting to move, right? Only now. It's also something that you saw in the last cycle when Bitcoin was taking off initially. The altcoins didn't really do that much. It was the latter part of the move where the altcoins exploded. So ETH will follow soon, and ETH and Solana, I would say, ETH and Solana will lead the charge on this real altcoin rally, right? So let's see how Ethereum is doing here. Yeah, you see this right here. So why do we say that this all will be happening? I can show you in a very quick moment. So this is the Ethereum chart, and the Ethereum chart is massively bullish. But look at one thing. So here's the all-time high, right? Ethereum all-time high. And usually after Bitcoin hits the all-time high, at some point the bigger altcoins, they're challenging their all-time high. And I think Solana is already, I'm not sure if Solana has, Solana is also not at all-time high. I think it was 280 or something, but we will see in a second, right? So Ethereum will next do a move that goes beyond the all-time high. So challenging the all-time high. Once that is happening, and that accounts for everything, like every other altcoin, like even the altcoin total market cap. So for example, total 2 which is the altcoin market including Ethereum, right? By the way, here's our prediction from a while ago that this is the next big resistance, right? Then it's challenging and breaching all-time high, wave 3. And here's the retest, right? So far, so good. It seems that it's playing out like this. We will see. But I think fairly soon, Ethereum will break out and follow this move, right? So the question is when. Now, by the way, I don't know, maybe someone check how many likes we have, because we have 33 people now here, and we should have more likes. So for the altcoins, that's important, right? So that's the total 2. How is the total 3? So let's take Ethereum out of the equation because it's so big, and let's see how the total 3 is, right? So total 3 also following prediction, and the next thing would be exactly that same challenge that we see here, like this this rebound, this where this kind of these pre and after retests happened on this overhead resistance. Breaching that would be according to plan. So also for the altcoins outside of Ethereum, reaching an all-time high collectively would be very important, right? So after total 3, I think a look at Solana is also valid. As we see here, right? This is the prediction, and for Solana we can see it also is not yet at all-time highs. But Solana, I think, will lead the charge, and Solana will lead to a lot of projects pumping that are on Solana, right? And then we will see that later with the other chains, like AVAX, everything on AVAX will pump. Like when AVAX goes nuts, everything on AVAX pumps. When things on Solana, like Solana pumps to 300, then and breaches all-time high, then everything on Solana that's on Solana will also pump, right? So here's the prediction. We had this massive bull flag, and look at this. If you zoom in, we're just breaking out. So this would have to be the candle close, at least this, right? And that would be the retest. Maybe the retest is not here because that would already be December, but it's just an illustration of how it goes, right? You break out of this bullish pattern, and then you go straight to 300, right? For Solana. So I think in this cycle, Solana and Ethereum, they're going to lead the charge. And then also there's Sui, for example, right? So everything on Sui will pump. And then there's Casper. Everything on Casper will pump once the base chain, the base layer for that will pump. And then there's Base, and Base doesn't have that mechanic. So everything on Base, we will see how it pumps and when it pumps, right? Will Pnut go above $5? It's impossible to say. I can already tell you that. Pnut USDT. Let's see. So this is Pnut. I mean, if you want me to TA this, this is Pnut. This is Pnut on the daily. So what can I tell you? It will pump until it doesn't, right? This is just the nature of meme coins. This is how Pnut. I mean, you can technically go into lower time frames and see what's happening. But to be honest, I mean, this is a gamble, and this has nothing to do with investing. Also for many other coins it doesn't, so don't be mad at me while I'm saying this. But will it go to $5? I don't know. It has broken $2, so it went to $2.50 even. You could make the argument that it probably will have another push, but it also can. So the one thing with Pnut is, since the dev sold, maybe this rug scenario is out of the way, but I don't know. You have to ask yourself one question: how much cold with meme coin, right? How much cold is there for a meme coin? How long will the Pnut the squirrel thing be a big thing, right? How long, right? Will it evolve into a Doge, like a permanent, like 4-year Trump? Everyone remembers Pnut. Or will it be that Pnut the squirrel will be forgotten in a couple of days, right? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. And then how long will meme coins in general benefit from the cycle? Do you believe in a meme coin super cycle? Then yeah, right? But on the other hand, like as I showed you, it's very difficult to make TA on one weekly candle, right? Will you reallocate all your alts gains into BTC? Not immediately. I will rotate into cash and then in a potential bear market into BTC. JW says, love your channel. Thank you very much, Jay. If you love my channel, then please smash up the like button. And now, finally, the next question is, this is gold. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, so let's open this up. The next question is, what about all other altcoins, since we have been looking at the big ones, right? And this is the same. I'm sorry for the cluttered up chart, but it's really necessary, right? We have a big cup and handle pattern here. We had a cup and handle breakout here. And now we have the prediction that we go, I think we don't need this one, but we have the prediction that we follow this, that we had this first wave, we have a corrective wave. Now the third one would be the next one. Wave 3, and look at this volume that is coming in, right? That's no joke, that's the weekly chart. We have this wave 3. Wave 3 is usually the longest, never the shortest, so it's at least longer than this wave 1. And by the way, not on this, but on this, right? So the next wave, this is the non-logarithmic, it's at least longer than this if it's an Elliott wave count, right? So you would say, let me extend this. So let's say the Elliott wave starts here, right? Let's just say, okay, let's do it differently. Let's do it with the ghost bars. Let's do it with the ghost bars. The bars here. Let's take it from the, yeah. So it's at least longer than this, right? I don't know how to stretch this, but at least longer than this, and this is, I mean, self-explaining, because it would mean that we would not breach the all-time high, which is here, if, yeah, so, yeah, let's shrink this a little bit, right? There you go, right? So that's at least what has to happen if it's a 5-wave Elliott count, and this is a wave 3, right? Never the shortest, okay? Okay, so there we go. Or you have to have an extremely long wave 5. But anyways, right? So in terms, it's easier to look at it from a return perspective in the logarithmic chart, right? So can we get to $1 trillion altcoins without the top 10? That's a big question, right? That would be, let me see this one, the one thing. That would be one target. If we would take the cup and handle target from here, oops. Sorry, let's take the low. Is that the low? That's the low, right? Actually, let's take the most bullish one that you can get out of here. And as a breakout, that's exactly all-time high, right? So, yeah, we will see. That's exactly all-time high. But, yeah, for sure we will have to see how hard this run can go. And therefore, Bitcoin is the necessary thing, right? So, whatever altcoins you're looking at, for example, AVAX, US, the microphone is, sorry, AVAX, there you go, USDT. Whatever you're looking at whatever altcoin you're looking right now, right? The only thing that really matters is that strength in this altcoin. And strength means, has it moved with the previous run like this, right? It didn't move. So for example, EOMI, it did not move with this latest, with the first run. So it's questionable if it moves with the next run, right? But for example, AVAX is a good example. It went up, it corrected hard on top of this, basically, right? This level, this base that has been forming here, and now it's good to go, right? Also here, we're expecting Avalanche to perform like 1, 2, 3, right? Something like this. And then we will see if it can take out its previous all-time high, or if it will go follow all the profit taking before. Another good example is Chainlink, where you see that exactly this base forming, right? So Chainlink did form this massive base in the bear market, right? And then it broke out, it came back, it tested back, and now it's going. So everything that looks like this, in my opinion, is absolutely good to go to make massive returns, right? And then it comes down to how big the project already is in terms of market cap, right? It's way harder to move 10 billion to 20 billion, needs 10 billion, then 1 billion to 10, or 1 billion to 10 billion only needs another 9 billion, right? Or then you have, let's say, what is a 20x on 10 billion versus 20x on a 1 billion? Let's make the math this way, right? Kong says, hi, bro, how do you feel about EOMI? We'll comment in a second. EOMI is so cheap, buying more. Like, Trucking Hank has the massive mega conviction. Yeah, but that's basically what I wanted to show you. And then also for VeChain, for example, this is on the non-logarithmic, right? But there you have the same thing, only that it's not on top of these highs, but on the space in general. You have the same thing. It's not as strong as Chainlink, but it's also not as weak as an EOMI, for example. So you kind of have this move starting as well, and you had in this previous run in the beginning of the year, you had a move out of VeChain as well. So from the bottom to the top, that was a 314% move. So it's not that VeChain doesn't react and so on, it just corrects hard, but it explodes hard, and now from this correction it was up 50%. So it did a 50% move. It's correcting a little bit. I'm expecting to have VeChain doing well as well later this year when altcoins are performing well. And as I said, I'm going to repeat myself, at 8 cents or at around 8 cents, I'm going to take my first profits, right? Because then from accumulation and bear market buying, that's up 5-6x. That's where I'm going to take my first profits. I will still hold a big bag up to the 10 and the 20 cents, and then we'll see how it's doing. But VeChain has a lot going for it. A lot of I will do a VeChain video probably this week still, because I think there are now a couple of things to talk about. So VeChain is doing well. Yeah, once again, right now you see that a lot of EOS is just pumping at the moment. I don't know. This is the weekly, and we can also see some interesting things, right? So all across like the 100, 200, 300 top altcoins, you have like on the week like 30%, 40%, 30%, 13% return. So the bigger ones are actually outperforming the smaller coins at the moment, right? This will turn at some point, but at the moment that's the picture. So you see here also in the top 200, the only reason why the top 200 are even performing is because of meme coins. So we see here, whoever bought ACT early, ACT 1, the prophecy, has made a 31x at least, right? 3,000%. Also 6x on Doge, and Mudang is up 100%. And the other ones you see is also Bombe, Apu, right? These are all coins that that are thriving, right? What is Apu, by the way? Apu sitting at 371 million. And then you see like things like things with real cash flows, real returns, like Blur, NFT Marketplace. No one cares, right? Degen is also meme coin. Then down here behind me is Pepe coin. Then we have Baby Doge, and NPC is up here in the corner, right? It's all meme coins. These returns here are all meme coins. Whereas Eigenlayer is down, for example, Akash is only 26%, Mana 12%, even Mana, right? You have to see one thing, like EOMI is so wrecked right now that even Decentraland is outperforming it, which is an absolute shit show of a project. It's crazy. Which brings me to EOMI, right? So EOMI, what is happening, right? A big question mark. EOMI found a new all-time low in this bull run, right? So now I would say also, especially these days from here down here, to here were not the most favorable for altcoins in the smaller brackets, and EOMI is one. It's sub 100 million, right? So we are starting to get into price ranges where if you were confident that something's coming, it gets really interesting. But the problem is that we have been told that so much isn't coming, right? That's what we've been told. Scottish Crypto says memes will dominate the cycle, not alts, I'm afraid. So okay, listen. Let me quickly go full cam for this. Okay, listen. The problem with this is that everyone says this. Scottish, you are not the first one. Twitter is full of this. You're the second or third person today that says this on this chat, right? That this is a Memecoin super cycle. That altcoins will not perform, I'm afraid, blah, 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 right? No, it's Bommy and book of memes, right? It's Pnut, it's D-Walk, it's Dog, it's I don't know what. Okay, so everyone says this. What is the rule if everyone says this? The rule is that usually everyone's wrong, right? That's the usual rule. Like everyone said that this time, everyone said, I don't know if you remember, but everyone said this time Bitcoin will not perform as well because the macro environment is just different. Bitcoin has never been in a recession. That was when Bitcoin went in this bull flag, people said that this would be the end of the move. And there was a lot of people, like everyone said that this time will be different because the macro environment is not favorable for Bitcoin, that Bitcoin has never been in a recession, blah, 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 right? So everyone says that, or everyone said in the deepest bear market that Bitcoin is going to go even lower after this crash because of the macro environment, right? And they were all wrong. So I'm not saying that you can't have your meme super cycle. I'm saying that you should be very cautious if all the sheep around you are repeating the same thing, right? That's where I need to be cautious, right? We have seen that many times in the recent years that everyone around us said or did things and they were completely wrong, or at least it was better to not follow the herd, right? That's my I would say my plaidoyer. I don't know how you say this. Like my rant on this thing, my take on this thing. I don't know. Like this is what I suggest to always cross check. Is everyone and their mother talking about this? Look, for example, 2008 in real estate bubble. Every degenerate was talking about that real estate this is now the time to buy houses, right? 1 year before the crash, 1 year before everything went down, right? And I'm not saying that memes are destined to crash like real estate, but people could still be wrong on memes. Like it could be that everything in the market is pumping, right? All the other altcoins, they're doing well, not only memes, right? Just to be sure. And if you haven't yet, everyone here, first of all, smash the like button, but everyone here, if you haven't yet, check out the movie The Big Short. First of all, it's a good movie, it's fun to watch. But secondly, it exactly shows you how wrong the masses are and how insane it can get when you're going against this stream, right? It's about exactly this 2008 financial crisis. When even the strippers in the club were telling their clients that this is a good time to buy real estate. So yeah, I think that all these chains like Solana, Ethereum, Sui, Casper, Avalanche, VeChain, Chainlink, all of these will do well. And then once they did well, people will look at which other coins like this can do well as well. And then all these others are pumping. Scottish says got 60% portfolio in Casper and Sui, Rest and memes, but will shift money around accordingly during cycle next year. Buba Monka inverse sentiment for the win. Yeah, exactly. And the king of sentiment is Kramer, and you know that one of the most influential and biggest investing or in investors is the inverse Kramer, right? So inverse Kramer always right. And yeah, I just love to look at what the masses do and then consider doing the opposite. By the way, this is how I found Bitcoin. I had there were some people shit talking Bitcoin, like a couple of people, and I was like, okay, so if they talk bad about Bitcoin, I have to research it. I have to look into this, because now this is getting interesting, right? So they were talking bad about Bitcoin in the last bull market, in the beginning of the last bull market, when it already made some pretty crazy highs, and that's how I got in. Omeprazole says I got 70% portfolio on Sui. Well, nice. That's really nice, because Sui is doing really well. By the way, I remember when you were here and it's like, oh my god, I'm getting wrecked on my Sui, right? So you see now there's no reason to worry, and I think we're only let's actually look at Sui quickly. Let's not do it on this chart because we need the EOMI chart in a second. But where's my here? Sui USDT. Yeah, okay, so I think we don't even have to discuss that breaking out here is extremely bullish, right? So I think this is the beginning of this move, and I think Sui will do extremely well, right? So I'm very happy for you, Omeprazole. Once you took massive, like insane profits on Omeprazole, you have to become a rare hodler. that is it. I got 70%, like 70% of this portfolio, and you're up. I think we talked about it right down here, right? I think that was right down here when we talked about it here on the channel. And what is that? 400% move. I don't know if it was right down there. Maybe it was here, right? But that would be also 200% or so. Yeah. That's when I bought, when I was scared. Now it's over 300%. Yeah, exactly. I remember that. But that was good. That was good times. At $1, okay, so it's 300% or so. Yeah. Yeah, we were saying, I think this will be good times to remember in a couple of months, when we were saying like, don't be scared, like these coins, VeChain, this and that, Sui, it will all come back, no worries, just don't get scared out of the market. Okay, yeah, good times, PogChamp. Throw the PogChamps in the chat if you remember the good times as an OG here. But EOMI, let's talk about EOMI quickly, because EOMI is a whole different story, right? This is a coin that did not fire, right? That did just not. I mean, you see this, like it's forming new lows constantly, and that is because if someone wants to buy an altcoin, they're looking for, hey, what does the team say on Twitter? What does the team say on YouTube? What is the roadmap for the coin? Which exchange listings are coming next? And if the answer is nothing, and nothing, or very little, then obviously no one is allocating money for now. I would still not discard the chance that at very low prices, the likelihood is higher that someone just says, okay, it will probably turn around here, bam, drop a couple of 100,000 into it, and boom, like pump this thing, and suddenly you have a technical TA turnaround. You see the coin doing a couple of 100%. I would not discard this possibility, but it would be not based on fundamentals if that happens, right? So diversification across chains is very important, says yeah, did not fire yet, right? So the lower this goes, the lower this price goes, the more attractive it gets to play this just on a pure just on a pure, the price is low, there could be something coming basis, right? So I would not wonder if, like, I would not say it cannot go on like this, right? And you drop here something to 0001s, and then it's very cheap to get 1 million or 2 million or I don't know what. The market cap would by then be 40 million, so that would be a small cap compared to the rest of the market then. And the despair is in the air, let's say, right? But the reason for this sell-off, as explained in my video, is that in the last, for about 20 hours ago, about 24 hours ago, Bitforex exchange has returned over 2 billion tokens of EOMI to their original owners after the collapse. So these were all locked up. Otherwise, we would have already seen these sell-offs in the price action. But now everyone gets them at the same time. This is a little bit like a small Mount Gox for EOMI, for the EOMI token, right? This is why people are selling. And so this sell-off has now been increased by Bitforex distributing another billion EOMI tokens to original owners. So if you have been waiting for your EOMI tokens returned from Bitforex, right, this is the good side of the news. Right now, check it out if you have them, because there might be now EOMI tokens available for you from your original stack. So even if you don't want to sell them, you would have them now, and you would have the guarantee that they are still part of your portfolio, right? So that is the good news. The bad news is that many people are disappointed, especially after Ben Rose said what is going on at the moment, that priority is on Vivi and not on EOMI, but they're still working on EOMI. That's basically the statement here. The other side is, let's check out the EOMI channel. So if someone wants to buy the coin, they're going to look at EOMI and they're seeing, okay, 157k followers, not too shabby. But they also they will see last thing is a retweet from a week ago, and then there was a retweet from 2 days before that, and then something about New York Comic Con that is not related to the token, and they will just look at where the heck do I get a roadmap, right? And that's exactly like if I would look into this altcoin that has not pumped yet, I would be like, where the fuck is the roadmap, right? By the way, what's on the link tree here? If I click that, there we go. So you get the EOMI token, like you go to the EOMI token portal, that's good. There is an EOMI blog, how to bridge EOMI, view the collectibles and get the mailing list, that's good. All the socials, that's nice to have, but long time I did not visit the EOMI token portal. I think there has not been really big development. Like this also, like the EOMI token portal, it looks like trash, right? I mean, if you go to a site like this, you're like, what is this even, right? It doesn't look good. It's good that there are some languages and so on, and that you have a lot of links, but it could look better, right? A banner with animations and so on. You get what I'm saying here. Like there's some things are needed here to improve, right? What we have been seeing is Foster Hilt, who is the community manager. Let's look him up. Also battling a little bit, trying to go against the FUD. He also he actively shared the interview where Ben Rose said this. So let's see if there are any replies. Let's see. So the replies here: congrats on purchase. So we see here, Fossil says here, it has been the year to focus on EOMI, but it also doesn't mean everything would be done in 1 year, or that the job is just finished as we get to the end of the year. As we move out of public testing, there will be a ton more accessibility for trading on Stacker and additional. So this is something that we see here. The statements are more towards Stacker. So maybe the only thing that we are getting is what Stacker is building, but I don't like this as much because Stacker is just not, they are not EOMI employees, right? It's not EOMI dev team, right? It's some third party that is building something with EOMI as no one else would. If I would see that, I'm like, yeah, I'm not buying that shit, right? So I am happy that this exists, that we will have additional burns, but we need the direct integration from EOMI into Vivi, right? So another million. Let's see here. Seems like we need to get our properly introduced Andrew Jig. Perhaps Foster Hill can help. I certainly can. So we will see. So here we have an interesting one. Let's put this a little bit to the side about EOMI. The year is almost over, and EOMI still has a little more utility than at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of like ever, right? If this was supposed to be the big year, I'm sorry, but in a year you can build a much bigger and more interesting project from scratch, like what Vivi and EOMI is presenting today. And then Foster says, EOMI has multiple utilities that it didn't have at the beginning of the year, including EOMI to NFT, which was a major catalyst the community had been waiting for years. And this is exactly the problem. EOMI to NFT has been brought by Stacker, right? Okay, by Stacker and Vivi. I would revise this a little bit, or correct my own statement here, because the mechanic that if you buy on Stacker, you automatically shift NFTs or transfer NFTs inside of Vivi. So there is a direct integration. But it would have been way more bullish if the EOMI token was inside of the Vivi, right? If that mechanic would not require users to create a new account outside at Stacker, right? So that is a little bit where I would say the community had been waiting for years for EOMI to NFT on the Vivi web app, right? That was what the community was waiting for. But anyways, we can't control narrative and cycles, but rest assured, we will continue to build regardless. Okay, so at this point is that is not true. You can control narratives, because if you publish a roadmap, the narrative is different than when you sit in an interview and say we don't prioritize this, right? So that is basically it. Yeah. And then there's some violent posts, like with accusation and so on, right? For example, that there would be that the liquidity pool would be drained. Liquidity pool is fully intact with funding on both sides is the answer to that, right? So we see Foster is definitely not having an easy time right now. But we also need to see something substantial here, in my opinion, right? People are shilling that stuff here. So Randy must be crying himself to sleep, or is he buying heavy? Yeah, that I don't know. You have to ask him. I don't know. I think for me personally, I would be. I would stick to my. I would stick to my personal strategy of just waiting this out and see what happens, because so far this has done me good that I did not buy any additional EOMI since very long time, since up here, where I bought something in the belief that most of my EOMI, right, in the belief that this is a base from where we are going to have a big move to the upside, and then we crash completely, right? So I did not buy anything in all of that accumulation. I think since that pump here, so that was in August 23, that's when I basically stopped buying EOMI, and now I'm just seeing where it goes, and maybe if the price is attractive enough and I see signs that there's something more coming, then I might put some more money in to drastically lower my average on that coin and speculate on a reversal later, right? But if you see for example, Mana USDT, right? Which you could argue is in the same niche. You don't see this trajectory of new all-time low. Let's put it on a weekly, so make it comparable. Not that I mean, you had in August, you had the all-time low for Mana until then, so it's also pretty down. How is Sand, USDT, Sandbox? Yeah, Sandbox is the same, it looks the same like Mana, also going lower. So you could argue that you have something similar in these coins, which is metaverse, right? If you argue about Vverse and NFTs, you could compare them in this, right? EOMI Prisol, okay. Gems to crypto and vice versa would be king. I agree. This is and technically, you have a way of crypto cash in by using Stacker. So that is already good. But that needs to be heavily advertised, right? I mean, they have to pay some big crypto channels once the altcoin crisis is going on. That's really necessary, right? But again, yeah. Anyways, guys, for today, I think that's enough. 1 hour 15. That's one of the longest crypto morning coffees that we ever had. But thanks for hanging out with me. Guys, make sure to smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet with notifications on. There is much more to come, videos and more live streams. I see you at Crypto Morning Coffee tomorrow in the morning. We'll have another Crypto Morning Coffee for sure. Once altcoins, actually if altcoins are having a pullback or something like that, maybe we do another altcoin stream. The altcoin streams are going to intensify right now. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Omeprazole. Thank you, Green Lantern. Thank you, Trucking Hank. Thank you, everyone else who has been participating actively in this discussion here. Make sure to smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel, notifications on. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And wherever you are on the world, have a great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon. And I see you in the next Crypto Morning Coffee tomorrow. Bye.